I just feel like physically and mentally I've got everything together now. I'm in the right place, and I feel like me and my team were just really on the same page and really working together. And I feel like I'm just at an opportune moment, and this is my time.
All right, Gillian, you're stepping into the octagon. This will be your 12th fight with the UFC. That's a huge accomplishment in itself, to be honest with you. There's a lot of fighters right now that fight maybe twice and they never see the octagon again. If you could go back to yourself before your UFC debut in 2017, what would you tell yourself? What advice would you give yourself from what you learned throughout those 11 fights?
It's exciting just to hear that. This is my 12th fight in the UFC. I was like, I don't really think about that often, but I don't. It, I guess like there's so much advice I could give myself now. Like hindsight is 2020. But it's like I feel like I needed all my failures to make me into the fighter that I am today. There's definitely like never overlook any opponents. Never like uh there's I don't there's so many things that I've learned just I feel like over the years, but it's like I needed all my losses. I needed all my hardships and everything to grow to the fighter that I am today.
Did you ever overlook an opponent heading into a fight?
Honestly, I feel like the that was like my first like real loss in my mind, and it was against Myra Buena Silva. And I feel like I kind of did overlook her in a way. She was 5-0 coming into the UFC, I believe, but she hadn't really fought like any real opponent. She was fighting girls who were like 0-1, 0-2, just a lot of girls who weren't really tough challenges. So I feel like I took that I think it was like 2.5 week notice. I took that the same as this one, I guess. It's a short notice fight, and um, I guess yeah, that was the first fight that I really like felt like okay, she definitely beat me because I guess I didn't 100% overlook her, but I definitely thought I'd be able to go in and finish it first round. And when she started giving me problems, it definitely messed with me mentally during the fight. And I feel like since that fight on, I have been like everybody in the UFC is tough. You can't be like, oh, I can walk through this, girl. You can't have too much you can't be too cocky, going in there. So I feel like that was the fight that really like knocked me down a notch there.
I think people have probably done that to you during your UFC run, right? They probably overlooked you just by looking at records. MMA math can be a major problem, for a lot of people. Like even me, sometimes I do it. I look at the math and say, yeah, this person probably has advantages over this person. But when they actually fight, it's a totally different fight. You know what I mean? Like you just see something completely different from each fighter.
And it's like it's easy to say like with me, it's like people be like, oh yeah, I'll just stand with her, I'll just punch, but it's hard to do that when you're actually in there, and it's a different world when you actually have the fighter on top of you, and you can't just stand there and just punch. But I'm like, yeah, it definitely just provides a different obstacle.
And on top of that, there's a crowd watching you. There's cameras on you. That
Yeah.
puts a whole nother layer to fighting. If you're fighting somebody in a gym that no one's at and the doors are closed, you could, most likely, you wouldn't be as down on yourself if you lost, right? But then when you're in front of everybody, that could get into your head. Like, has that ever gotten into your head to where you really had to dig yourself out?
I feel like the mental battle is probably my biggest battle, and I feel like there's a lot of fighters. There's probably some of the best fighters in the world. They're in gym somewhere that just can't perform. They can't put it together on a stage. But you could bring any world champion fighter against them, and they would just completely demolish them. But they just can't figure it out mentally and can't put it together. And I feel like for me, that is my biggest issue is trying to figure it out mentally 100%. Just fight like me being just like learning how to perform essentially. I feel like I am better than all these girls technically. I know that like in a gym scenario I am 100% better than all these girls, and even all the girls that I've lost to, I still believe that. I believe that I would be better than all of them. But it's just in that moment I couldn't put it together and they were able to.
And you've talked about like right now is the time to make a run at the title. Why do you feel that way? Do you feel like the mental side has actually caught up to your physical talents, your skill set?
I feel like I just feel like physically and mentally I've got everything together now. I'm in the right place, and I feel like me and my team were just really on the same page and really working together. And I feel like I'm just at an opportune moment, and this is my time.
Okay. And then your next adventure, so to say, is short notice. You've taken a few of those in the past. It's nothing new to you against JJ Aldrich. How did this fight come together? I know that you were already in Vegas to corner Hannah Goldie, right? So you just stayed there, and they just kind of offered you the fight?
No, it was actually the day before I flew out that they offered me the fight. So they didn't even know. I don't think they knew that I was coming out to Vegas. Initially, they just I've been begging for a fight for a while now. So JJ lost her opponent. She was supposed to fight Lipsky that weekend. So they just called me and we took the fight. I think JJ posted on her Instagram. She was like 24 hours without a fight. She went less than 24 hours without a fight. They were able to put it together fast for her. So it was awesome to be able to just be able to take that.
For sure. And why do you think the UFC is having a hard time booking fights? Because they have a show almost every weekend, you know what I mean? Like with so many fights.
I have no idea. I guess I'm always sitting there begging for a fight. I would have liked to get in probably sometime February this year. Early March is ideal. So I'm just happy I got the call.
All right. So, you've been in Vegas, you've been training. What is the training situation for you right now?
I've been spread out a little bit. I went to 10th Planet Las Vegas for my first day here. I went a couple days to Extreme Couture. And then my coach, Dean Thomas, is out here. So we've spent every morning at the PI just working together, drilling, and just really game planning.
How has the PI been for you? Usually when you fight in Vegas, you kind of go out like maybe a week before. So you don't really get to utilize the PI that much. But now you've had some time. Have you took advantage of it, or have you taken advantage of it in the past?
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like we're so blessed as fighters to have the UFC take care of us like they do. Like there's no fight promotion that you'll find that takes care of you like the UFC does. And with the PI, it's just to be able to have physical therapy, people to like literally like as a fighter, we're probably the worst people for taking care of ourselves. So to have a whole team to force us to take care of ourselves is absolutely amazing. And then they have like the hot and cold tubs, the sauna. I use all of those today. Exactly. So I'm like, everything there is we're lucky to have it.
And the vibe too probably is really crazy because you see fighters from all different weight classes from every part of the world at the PI just kind of doing everything together.
Oh yeah, it's cool definitely like to see the talent around there. And sometimes you'll just be laying on the table getting worked on. You look over, you're like, oh, that's Francis Ngannou. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Is he bigger than you expected? Like meeting him?
Yeah, he definitely is. He's when I first saw him, I was on the same card as him and Stipe Miocic, and to see him next to Stipe, I feel like that was like mind blowing. I didn't realize how much bigger he looked compared to him.
Yeah, Stipe's a big boy himself.
Yeah.
And if you're bigger than him, that's a monster. So you said 10th Planet. You've been at Extreme and the PI, of course, with your head coach Dean Thomas. Aldrich, what do you see in this matchup that you decided, hey, I'm gonna take this fight in 2 weeks? Notice.
I think this is kind of the typical like striker versus grappler. I like I said, not looking out for any opponents, but JJ I feel like is one specifically that she's tougher than I feel like people give her credit for. She's very well rounded. She's got very crisp boxing. Her jiu-jitsu and her wrestling isn't like it's bad. It's not like she's a slouch anywhere. She's tough as shit too. So I'm like, I don't expect it to be an easy fight. I expect my best way to win is gonna be to make it a dirty fight. I gotta use a lot of knees, a lot of elbows, and just get the fight where I want it really. But I don't expect her to be one that I'm just gonna go in and out real quick, first round finish. I feel like she's gonna be a tough matchup, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, on paper, people are gonna see it and say, "Oh, she's the striker. You're the grappler." Look at the fights that happened in the past. What do you think is like something that we should be looking out for as viewers in this fight that will probably come out, between you two when we finally see you clash?
Like I said, I'm trying to make it dirty, so we're using all my sharp bones on my elbows and my knees. So that's why I'm trying to cut her, and I'm trying to make her give me the submission because I know that I'm not just gonna be able to go in there and just get it. I'm really gonna have to do some damage before I can get her out of there.
All right, so pretty much you've revealed to us like what you expect in this fight, right? Like that's kind of like the prediction of what happens. What do you expect after this fight? That would be two in a row. You said, you want to make the title run, so it's about building a streak, right? So do you have any, opponents in mind, or have you had opponents in mind in the past that you wanted to face?
And not necessarily any names, but I feel like at that point I deserve someone who's ranked.
And like stylistically, like, do you see a certain style that you'd like to face in the octagon in the next couple of fights to kind of showcase more of like what you have developed?
Not specifically. I feel like um just my style in general, I'm a dangerous fight for anyone. I have a very unique style of jiu-jitsu that has a potential to take any girl out. So I yeah, stylistically it doesn't matter to me. I feel like I'm a threat to everyone.
When you first started, in 2017, there was like a, a group of fighters at that weight class, right? Did was there a flyweight? Yeah, there was a flyweight division at that time. It was like right at the beginning, right, when you first started.
Well, our Tough House kind of opened up the flyweight division.
Exactly, exactly.
I think they had like one or two fights in the UFC at
Hmm.
flyweight previous to that, but it was the opening of the Tough House that really opened it up.
Yeah, that's right. And you've seen a lot of bodies move around and change positions in the promotion, even fighters leaving. Like you being in the midst of that and watching certain fighters leave and certain fighters stay, like is there a certain feeling from that, like watching that happen, watching that transpire?
Um, I guess I don't know. I'm so focused on my own career and just focused on like what I'm doing. I guess some people they've left the UFC and went to better things with their career too, making more money. I know say like Rachel Ostovich, she's making a lot of money at bare knuckle now, doing very well over there. So I'm like, it's good to see things like that. I love to see all the positive for all the other girls, but yeah, I'm just so focused on me all the time.
All right, for sure. A few more questions. MMA fans, of course, you have to deal with them. Some of them are great, some of them go too far. What do MMA fans obsess about too much that fighters really don't care about?
Huh. Um, I'm not sure. I guess fans honestly don't really annoy me. I guess like don't really like obsess about things really that like get to me. It's usually people who know nothing about MMA who try to pretend like they know everything. That it's like, okay, like I can obviously tell that you don't know. Like guys who are bragging about when they boxed when they were 13, and you're like, okay, like I get it, cool. It's just like you know that they have absolutely no idea, and I dedicate my whole life to this. I put like 5 hours a day every single day, estimated, like, so I'm like, to for them to like brag to me about when they were 13 and they boxed and compare it to my career, I'm just like, okay, like that's cool.
It's almost insulting in a way, right? Like they would bring up something like that.
I'm like, I feel like, especially being like a female, I feel like that's a lot of guys approach.
Like they actually have some skills. Like
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, not a good approach, right? Not a good approach. Uh,
exactly.
MMA, we know that it is a tough sport. You know better than anyone. It is grueling mentally and physically. I'm just wondering, like, what is the level of suffering an elite athlete has to go through to get to like the highest levels of this sport in your eyes, in your opinion?
Oh, it's a lot. I feel like mentally it's the biggest thing. It's like every single day trying to get yourself to the gym. I feel like if you love this sport, it's easy to go to the gym every single day. It's easy to drive yourself, but there's still days like I leave the gym crying, or like especially like coming up to fights, just the stress of it. Like people don't understand the mental pressure of having to think about fighting someone for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long you get the contract for, and just like going to bed every single night dreaming about that girl. I'm just thinking about like ways to finish her, ways I can do this. And then it's like when you finally get the fight, it's like that's the like a deep breath, like, okay, I don't have to think about her anymore. It's finally done. So it's just the mental battle is so much of it. And I feel like that's why people quit, is they can't take the mental pressure.
For sure. And one last question: crypto. Kevin Lee, he gets signed by Eagle FC, and now he will be paid his fight purse in crypto. I just wanted to get your take on cryptocurrency, and would you ever consider being paid in crypto for your fight purse?
I guess I don't know. I'm not very educated on the subject. I don't really know too much about crypto or really like what it is essentially, I guess. So yeah, I don't really know about that.
All right, all right. March 12th, short notice, UFC Fight Night, Las Vegas. Gillian, thank you so much for the time, and good luck on the fight and the rest of the camp.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.